All right, this is another lesson inspired through the Holy Spirit of truth, given through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Double honors to the elders who taught me everything I knew, and salutations to all my fellow ministers out here pushing this truth across the four winds to seal the elect so that we can get up out of here. And I was inspired to do this lesson from a recent event that took place in my life where someone made a hasty decision. And now, after reflecting on this situation, I'm taking what I can gain from it to walk more in the faith and be better, right? Because we coming into some times where, a very dark, scary, very, high tribulation time is about to befall this earth. All right, the scriptures talk about the kingdom of heaven is likened to, a child giving birth, right? Matter of fact, let's get a couple scriptures on that. Matter of fact, we'll go to Acts first, Acts 14:22. It reads, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Most High. Now let's go to the gospel. This is St. John 16, verse 21. A woman, when she is in travail, have sorrow, because her hour is come. But as soon as she is delivered of the child, she remembereth no more the anguish for joy that a man is born into the world. And this, metaphorically, in the context I'm using it, is for the kingdom of heaven. Being that child. The women being in travail representing the tribulation coming upon the earth, and then when that child come forth, she doesn't remember those sorrows or that anguish anymore. Meaning, when this kingdom, the kingdom of heaven is established, we won't remember, our anguishes and our trials and our troubles in this world anymore. All the stresses and the things that burden us in our lives here. These things will we won't even remember these things no more, right? So. Now let's go ahead to Sirach, the second chapter, right? I'm going to start at the top. Verse 1, it says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. So when trouble comes, all right, matter of fact, let's get a definition on trouble just to see what the definitions will say. Because what is trouble? Trouble, difficulty or problems. All right, I like that. So look at problems, difficulty, issue, inconvenience, anxiety, distress, right? Annoyance, agitation, harassment, misfortune, tribulation. There it is, trial, tribulation. Right. So, make not haste in the time of trial and tribulation. Now let's look up that word haste. You look that up in the Hebrew. You got Strong's H2362, which is the Hebrew word chawash, which means to haste, to make haste, to hurry, to show haste, to act quickly. All right. So when trouble comes, you're not to make quick acts. All right. Things need to be examined. They need to be thought out. And it's easier said than done. But to the best of your ability, you want to be slow to act. You don't want to act all quick and all hasty, because that's more of an emotional thing. That's what women and children do. That's what should even beast. It's a very quick thing. But see, the Lord has given man wisdom. That's why man was set up above all animals. Let's get that real quick. Go to Genesis, the first chapter, verse 27. It says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And how was we made in his image? We were made in the image of wisdom. All right. And this goes into the sons of God, all right, the Adamites, okay, beginning with Yahweh Shai, the Alpha and the Omega, you know. So wisdom separated us from the animals, right? And wisdom goes into being able to think. All right, let's go to Sirach, because the Lord gave us these senses so that we can be able to think, right? This is Sirach 17. And we'll start at the top. The Lord created man of the earth and turned him into it again, which, we were born of the earth, we go back to the earth. He gave them few days and a short time and power also over the things therein. So this is just lining up with Genesis, the first chapter. He endued them with strength by themselves and made them according to his image, and put the fear of man upon all flesh and gave him dominion over the beasts and the fowls. They received the use of 5 operations of the Lord, and in the 6th place, he imparted them understanding. So those 5 operations go into the senses: sight, smell, taste, feel, touch. And in the 6th place, he imparted them understanding. And in the 7th, speech, an interpreter of the cogitations thereof. All right, counsel and a tongue, ears and a heart gave he them to understand. All right, so the Lord gave us understanding. He gave us a heart, which goes into the mind, so that we can make, good and clear decisions. And so what the Lord has been preparing us, in these last days and times, we're coming back into who we are as the Israelites and stuff. He's preparing us so that we can make good, sound decisions, right? Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. I also, which patience goes into what? It goes into suffering. So because we suffered for this faith by separating ourselves from the world and walking a righteous path, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, temptation goes into trial and test, or as we just established, those are synonyms for trouble. All right, so the world is about to be tested, all right, through trouble, through tribulation. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to make hasty decisions. They're going to make decisions that are in the flesh. All right, this is why Apostle Paul said this, right? You go to Galatians, the 5th chapter. He said, walk what? Galatians 5:16, this I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. You see, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. Because in the spirit, all right, if you're making decisions in the spirit, these are going to be decisions that the flesh wouldn't make, and vice versa. All right, this is why the Lord said, I think it's Matthew 26:41. Let me see what that says. Yeah, that's it. Say Matthew 26:41. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Yeah, the flesh is hasty, man. That shit is hasty. That shit wants to act impulsively, quickly, right? Just like a beast, just like a dog, just like a cat. It just wants to do what it wants to do when it wants to do it, man. Let's read that again. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation, because it's coming. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. So we have to pray that we don't fall, victim to the flesh, man, because it's contrary to our spirits. You don't want to be making hasty decisions in these last days and times, because you're getting weak in the flesh. So that's why we have to, put off the flesh more and more, fast more, pray more, do things that are inconvenient to the flesh, because usually the things that are convenient to the flesh are inconvenient to the spirit. So this is just something I want to go into real quick through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. I pray and I hope that this was edifying.